Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Saira Iram from MSc 3rd. Our course is Functional Analysis and the course code is Math 424. Presentation topic is Hilbert adjoint operator and the theorem existence. Here are the outlines. First we will see the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator, and then there is a very important and interesting theorem. This theorem is also known as existence theorem. We will see the statement and proof of this theorem in the next slides. Reference book is Kreyszig Introductory Functional Analysis with Applications. Now the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator T steric. Let T be a mapping from H1 to H2 be a bounded linear operator where H1 and H2 are Hilbert spaces. Then the Hilbert adjoint operator T steric of T is the operator T steric maps from H2 to H1 such that for all x belonging to H1 and y belonging to H2, inner product of T x y is equal to inner product of x T steric y. Hilbert spaces are the special kind of vector spaces. They have all properties of vector space and have few more additional properties also. Here two Hilbert spaces are used in this theorem, H1 and H2. H1 and H2 Hilbert spaces may be same or different. Here T is an operator which maps H1 to H2 and T is a linear and bounded operator. T steric is another operator which maps H2 to H1. In definition, X belongs to H1 and Y belongs to H2. If X1 is an element of H1 and T applies on X, then the image of Tx goes to H2. So Tx is an element of H2 and Y also belongs to H2. So on the left hand side, the inner product is defined on Hilbert space H2. On the right hand side, inner product of X T steric Y. Here X belongs to H1 and when T steric applies on Y, then T steric Y is also an element of H1. So on the right hand side, the inner product is defined on the Hilbert space H1. If any operator T steric satisfy the condition 1, inner product of Txy is equal to inner product of Xt steric y, then it is called Hilbert adjoint operator T steric of T. Now the theorem existence theorem. The Hilbert adjoint operator T steric of T exists, is unique and is bounded linear operator with norm. Norm of T steric is equal to norm of T. In this statement, given map is T and we are seeing the existence of T steric and our motive is to search a T steric such that inner product of Txy is equal to inner product of X T steric y. Every Hilbert space has a Hilbert adjoint operator. Here T maps from H1 to H2 is a bounded and linear operator. So for T, there exists a T steric in Hilbert space which is unique, T is bounded, so the T steric will also be bounded. Now in existence theorem, we will show that there is a T steric Hilbert operator which is unique, and the norm of T steric is equal to norm of T. T maps element of H1 to H2 and T steric maps from H2 to H1. So the norm of T steric is equal to norm of T, because norm of T steric is due to H1 and the norm of T is due to Hilbert space H2, and their presentation will also be unique. Now here we are using the formula from Ray's representation theorem. Hyx is equal to norm of ytx. Ray's theorem is used in this theorem. So we see the statement of Ray's theorem. Here is the statement of Ray's theorem. Every bounded linear functional f on the Hilbert space H can be represented in terms of inner product, namely f of x is equal to inner product of x and y, where z depends on f, is uniquely determined by f, and has norm. Norm of z is equal to norm of f. So we are using this definition in the theorem. According to Ray's theorem, it is not difficult to see that the mapping from Ray's theorem we can write Tx in place of z and y in place of x. Here basically the mapping H is from H2 cross H1 to H2 cross H2, because y is an element of H2, x is an element of H1, and in inner product y is an element of H2 and Tx is an element of H2. Here the inner product is square linear and T is linear. We are not proving here this is square linear. We are just using the definition. In fact, conjugate linearity of the form is seen from here. Hy alpha x1 plus beta x2 is equal to inner product of y t into alpha x1 plus beta x2. If we add linear combination of x with y, then it will become alpha x1 plus beta x2. T is a bounded linear operator, so it will give alpha x1 plus beta x2. It is not difficult. One can show that inner product of y into alpha x1 plus inner product of y plus beta x2. Now by taking common alpha bar, because alpha may be complex number, so bar will come on alpha, and here inner product of y tx1 is representation of square linear form, so we can write as h into x y x1, and same here inner product of y tx1 can also be written as h into y x2. So we have proved that h is square linear form. By right argument, conjugate come first in square linear form, and if we apply on the left argument, then the same alpha and beta will come outside. So from the axiom of square linear form, it is proved that H is also a square linear form. Now we will show that H is bounded. For boundness, we will use the Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. Here is the definition. Mod of Hyx is equal to mod of inner product of Ytx is less than or equal to norm of y into norm of Tx is less than or equal to norm of t into norm of x into norm of y. Here t is a linear and bounded operator and the norm of t is fixed. By Schwarz inequality, we know that norm of f is equal to c into norm of x. If there exists a c in this form, then we say that f is bounded. So here t is a linear operator and gives us a finite number. So h is bounded. Now by definition, we can also show that norm of h is less than or equal to norm of t, since by definition Hyx is less than or equal to norm of t into norm of x into norm of y. H is equal to supremum of x is a non-zero vector and y is also a non-zero vector. Mod of Hyx over norm of x norm of y is less than or equal to supremum of x is a non-zero and y is not equal to 0 norm of t into norm of x into norm of y over norm of x into norm of y. It is less for every x and y. So by definition, norm of h is less than or equal to norm of t. Moreover, we have norm of h is greater than or equal to norm of t. From this, norm of h is equal to supremum where x is a non-zero vector and y is also a non-zero vector, mod of inner product of y dx over norm of x into norm of y is greater than or equal to supremum of x is a non-zero vector. Here we are choosing tx equal to y. From here tx it will become the square of the norm of tx and this square will be cancelled out with the tx. Here it will remain norm of tx over norm of x, which is equal to norm of t by definition of norm. So by combining this and this, norm of h is equal to norm of t. Now if H is bounded square linear operator, then Borel's representation theorem, there exists a unique operator S on Hilbert space H1. We have seen the statement of this theorem such that this is the definition of this theorem. Here we are taking S is equal to T steric. We replace S with T steric from 3 and 4. Equation 3 is here. Hyx is equal to inner product of Ytx. By combining 3 and 4, it is equal that to inner product of Ytx is equal to inner product of T steric Yx. This implies that inner product of Txy is equal to inner product of x T steric y. By conjugating single time on the both side of this, the argument will be changed. So here T static is such that T static is a unique operator. So norm of T static is equal to norm of H. And we know that from the theorem that T static from H2 to H1 is a uniquely determined operator with norm. So norm of H is equal to norm of T is equal to norm of T static. This proves to also y Tx is equal to T static y x by comparing 3 and 5, and so that we have 1 by taking conjugates, and we now see that T static is in fact that operators we are looking for. So now we have proved that there is a T static operator which exists, is unique and is bounded for the operator T, and this completes the proof. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.